Hey, this is Mike from Junkyard Crafts and Builds, and today we are looking at the G.I. Joe Classified Series number 113, Mutt Junkyard. And I can't tell you how excited I am to have this team in my hands right at the end of 2023. As someone who's always had a dog as a member of our family, it's really nice to have. I always loved the fact that we had someone who appreciated canines and knew how to work with them. And I get that same feeling right now just looking at this box and this team. So let's just move right into the box itself, because we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about it. Because first and foremost, window boxes are back, ladies and gentlemen. And now we are in a deluxe box here with these guys and all the accessories that come with it. It's exciting. I don't know. Right now, looking at this guy, he seems to be, if I were looking down at this guy right now, I would say that they're all floating in a pool. I think that there's a lot of plastic in here holding this guy in place. And, you know, it could have been packaged a little smarter, but I'm also not going to say it's horrible because you see everything that comes in the box. I don't know. You guys tell me in the comments, how excited are you to have window boxes back? Does this look aesthetically pleasing? Anyway, so yeah, here's the front of the box. Here is the side of the box. Again, he has number 113. There's the QR code if you so desire, and all his little special stats right here. On the other side, we have 113, and we have this blown up bit of wonderful artwork that we saw in the front. Junkyard looking vicious as always, and so is Mutt. Really cool. I like this artwork. I like a lot of the artwork that has been on these boxes. It'd be cool to start to kind of see them all online or compiled together just for the sheer curiosity of it all. But here we are in the back, and we see here they have a kind of a new way of looking at or showing off the figure with this. I'm assuming it looks like a render. It looks a little clean for the figure itself, but we have Mutt Junkyard here. We have some details on the side. Again, you don't really see his height anymore. They're not showing that, at least on this box. Let's go ahead and start getting this guy out of the package. So before we get to the actual figure, I did want to just do another follow-up here after getting this guy out of all this plastic. There are points where you have to be careful because of the way that the plastic now has been molded to hold everything in and hold it straight. I had to bend the knife because the knife has these two or this point here where the blade went through to get him out, and the hilt has this little nub up here, so you had to push from behind to get that out. Same thing with the baton and the assault rifle, because there's a hole here for the barrel to stick through. So and we had the visors here and whatnot. Just be aware that how they have made this plastic mold, if you are not being careful, you're going to bend your weapons. You will bend them this time, not Hasbro. So let's now get rid of this plastic and start looking at Mutt Junkyard. So now we have Mutt Junkyard out of the plastic, and we're going to start with Junkyard. So again, it's nice that we actually have an animal at that 1/12 scale that is something a little more manageable than an eagle or, I don't know, a crocodile. But Junkyard is a gorgeous sculpt on the figure is really nice. The paint deco on his face and his eyes is absolutely gorgeous. We've got a studded collar, that's a separate piece, and then we have his tactical vest. That's on there fairly tight, so if you're going to try to take this off, obviously you're going to have to heat up the body and whatnot. So really nice. Like I said, we have this growling face here with the jaws kind of exposed. We have our paint that goes all the way down. It's a little bit of a smudge here on its front paws with the transition from the black to the lighter brownish copper. Back legs look a little better. So nice all around. And he also has a alternate head. This tongue hanging out. So let's just go ahead and do that swap. And his head comes off fairly easy. And like I said, the studded collar is a separate piece. It is sculpted to go back on a certain way, so that way it's close to the skin. And then we just pop the other head on. And now we have Happy Junkyard. So now that we've finished looking at Junkyard, let's go ahead and start looking at Mutt's accessories. And we're going to start with his helmet. So this is a soft plastic helmet. But what really sets this guy apart is the dry brush on this helmet. It's like a dirty copperish brown. Definitely looks like it's been in the pound. And he comes with 2 sets of goggles. One is larger, and that would sit on top of this helmet here. And then we have a pair of goggles that would go onto Mutt's face, and that will go on like this. So I just lined up the front first off, slide it down around the ears, make sure it stays on straight, and there we have his goggles on. Now for his face mask, you're going to take the head off. So again, it's sculpted in a certain manner. And like I said, here he is close up. Again, you can see the nice detail on that helmet, and the goggles fit nicely on his face, as well as the face mask. That looks really cool, but we have more accessories to look at, so let's go ahead and do that now. So now that we're back here, let's continue on by looking at some of the weapons that come with Mutt. First off, we'll start with this handgun. Again, looks nice. We got a little bit of paint here across the top. It is blast effect compatible, and it goes right into Mutt's holster here. His next weapon accessory is this knife here, and that goes right into this sheath here on his vest, and it goes on in there nice and secure. His next weapon is his assault rifle, but again, it's all black, pretty straight, slight bent here at the barrel, again probably from me getting it out. It does have a removable magazine. So here's a Hasbro blast effect. Now we have Mutt armed up with his rifle. Next is this baton. We've kind of seen it before with Shockwave. Simple design, nothing on it paint wise. Yeah, so unfortunately there is no storage for this baton. With this deluxe figure, we come with a multitude of hands. So starting with the default hands, we have 2 trigger fingers, and they articulate vertically on both hands. And as you take off the hands, note that there are 2 small pieces, and for his handler glove, the larger piece also slides right off. His next pair of hands are open gestured type of hands. The next pair of hands we have for his canine glove, we have kind of like a pointing hand, but then on this side we have a closed fist hand. And the final pair of hands we have on this hand is a definitive pointing finger, and the next one we have is kind of like a semi-holding item holding hand. And for an extra little bonus, there's something I picked up because I saw it on their website, and I knew Mutt and Junkyard were coming, and I really wanted to see how this looks. So for a little added bonus, this is something that I saw on the website for my friends Marauder gun runners, and I know their pedigree is more 1/18 scale, but they do have a 1/12 scale section. And what I found was their Gun and Grub canine handler set, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be perfect to like recreate a lot of that vintage card back looks for Mutt and Junkyard when they come out. So what it entails is a vintage looking Mac 10. Again, it's just simple black plastic. It does have a removable magazine. It also comes with a silencer. Barrel here, you just gently twist it in. And now you got this fully silenced Mac 10. For Junkyard, you get 3 little dog biscuits. And here's Mutt and Junkyard with the Marauders Gun and Grub set. The Mac 10 fits a little thick in his hand, so I had to manipulate the fingers open a little bit more than usual. Additionally, I forgot to say that Marauders did send a vintage baton, and then there's Junkyard with his dog biscuit. Now I forgot to mention the price for this Gun and Grub set. On their website right now, $1.99 for the gun and the dog biscuits. Again, you're getting a 1/12 scale weapon and an accessory for your animal for $2. Can't really beat that. So that's all the accessories we have for this team. So let's go ahead and start talking about them as characters. So before we start going into the character retrospective, I do want to give some shout outs as part of my research for Mutt and Junkyard, mainly to YouTuber JLS Comics and the curators for yojo.com and Joepedia, because there's no way I could have had time to research. So again, thank you to all you guys for your efforts. So like I said, Mutt and Junkyard were two of my favorite vintage characters growing up. But as we learn more about Mutt, aka Stanley R. Perlmutter, hailing from Iselin, New Jersey, hopefully I pronounced that right, Mutt's vintage bio card highlighted his natural affinity for animals, especially with dogs, to the point where he got along with his four-legged friends better than people. In his family, he had 5 dogs growing up, and he found an instinctive connection with them. As the trust between human and canine grew, young Stanley began training the dogs to follow his commands. That loyalty that young Stanley had with his dogs was discussed in his version 2 Slaughter's Marauders bio card. When young Stanley and his pack silently surrounded a prowler, not only did they surround the prowler, they ensured that he didn't move until the police came to arrest the thief. Mutt enlisted in the army and graduated from Jungle Warfare Training School. During his time, he became attached to a special ops school and was also assigned as an advisor to a security and enforcement committee. Somewhere along these assignments, Mutt was brought into the G.I. Joes, specifically the K9 Battalion, where he met his partner, Junkyard. Going back to the Marauders card, the quote describes the amount of control and connection Mutt has with his canines, stating that during an operation, his canine team chased 3 Cobra agents for 5 miles before Mutt gave the whole command. But it is his partnership with Junkyard that makes the pair inseparable. So, being so in tune with each other that they work without Mutt giving commands, and acting like one entity. Their first appearance in the Marvel Comics was in issue 25, where they were part of a team that were dropped into the swamps, and the pair hunted and contained Wild Weasel and Firefly. In the storyline, Junkyard found Cobra Commander, Destro, Baroness, and Zartan at his base. He got them to chase after him, leading them into the swamps, but they fell into a quicksand bog. Issue 79 has the team working with another K9 Joe team, Law & Order, and with Cross Country to hunt down the Dreadnoughts. To prevent the Joes from being discovered by Buzzer, Junkyard drew Buzzer away from Mutt and the company, but was injured by Buzzer and sending Mutt into a rage. This ensued into a firefight between the Dreadnoughts and the Joes. After the firefight, 3 Dreadnoughts were captured, and Mutt went to check on his companion, who had a nasty gash due to Buzzer's buzzsaw. Mutt enacted a small level of revenge by putting his steel boot alongside the biker's head. Mutt and Junkyard were pretty prominent in the first season of the Real American Hero Sunbow cartoon. First seen in the first episode of the Revenge of Cobra miniseries, the pair found themselves in space for the Pyramid of Darkness miniseries, fighting the Dreadnoughts, riding Cobra Ferret ATVs in space. They also had a PSA talking about being careful around stray dogs.
Hi, doggy! Nice doggy! Here, boy, come on! Hi, fella. Hey!
Don't run!
Mutt!
Walk away slowly.
He tried to bite me!
Never try to pet an animal you don't know. He may be lost, sick, or scared.
You mean he might be dangerous?
That's right. If we don't know, we leave him alone.
And we don't get bit. Now I know.
And knowing is half the battle. G.I. Joe!
The pair continued into the Deke seasons of the cartoon, but at this point, Mutt was wearing his DEF uniform. The toy of Mutt and Junkyard came out in Series 3 in 1984 and was sold until 1986. He came with a variety of accessories, including a non-articulated version of Junkyard, and this release was made of all original tooling. The mold was reused for the second version of the figure, now part of the Slaughter's Marauder sub-team, where he was promoted to an E5 and had a primary specialty of animal control with a secondary specialty in covert ops. Mutt received an updated mold for his third release in Series 11 as part of the DEF, and was sold from 1992 to 1993. His 90s gimmick was a light-up spring-loaded net launcher. The final release we'll cover is from 2004 and has Mutt and Junkyard 2, now part of the Tiger Force, as a Joe Convention exclusive covering the 40 years of adventure. He was part of the Dreadnought Rampage box set. I bring this up because the file card has a nice little sentence where the original Junkyard, after many years of service, was given a hero's retirement at Mutt's family home. Mutt continued to be the Joe's canine trainer and found one dog that stood out among the rest. Once again, a connection was made and a bond was formed between the two. And to carry on the legacy of his previous partner, Mutt and Junkyard 2 became a new fighting force against Cobra and all their threats. So that's a retrospective of Mutt and Junkyard. So now let's just talk about this fantastic classified figure. Starting at the top of the head sculpt here, I mean, it's just the look of him. So I mean, just bringing in on his face here, just looking at him, we see we have a little bit of a training scar here from all of his years. And what we also have here is a very impressive 5 o'clock shadow that's been put on his face. I mean, it's expertly done. It looks fantastic. The eyes are awesome. They don't look too cartoony or blank. The hair is on point. There's no issues with paint on this guy, in my opinion. It's just a really fantastic sculpt. Now, the one hiccup I have is, again, with the body here. They're definitely invoking the fact that Mutt is hairy. And they're doing that here on his neck and also on his forearms. I get what they're trying to do. It just looks a little too fake. But anyway, it's there. We do see the separation here. It kind of breaks the illusion with the neck. But that's just engineering as it is. It still looks really, really good. Aesthetically, his vest looks amazing, and it's just definitely like the O-ring. It's a great sculpt. We see it two different. We have a little bit of a detail paint here under each of the arms in a black, and then again this red and black across the back here. You know, the only thing we're going to kind of suffer a little bit with is articulation. Going with the shoulders, we can strike a T-pose relatively easily here. And again, the deco and the sculpt on this guy is really top-notch. Waist rotation is fine. So going to his legs, again with the drop downs, we can do a split pretty much. With the drop downs, you can get his leg up that far, back that far. We have thigh rotation. We have pinless double jointed knees, which are a little tight. As I've been manipulating them, they're loosening up a little bit, but just be aware that when you bring them out, the ratchets are tight on his knees. But he can, kick back fairly well. The sculpt here does not inhibit the leg movement. So moving on, we have a boot cut rotation here. And then for his ankles, we have a generous ankle down, up, and pivot. So all the articulation you expect from a classified guy, but what is Mutt without Junkyard? So let's check out Junkyard's articulation. So here we have Junkyard, and I kind of put him in a neutral pose to start out with. So articulation wise, right? Yeah, the head. So like I said, he can rotate around, and with this other neck joint, he can look up that far. You can look down a little bit. But anyway, so we're going to go to his forepaws. They can go, his shoulders, he can go up this far. They get a little bit of a lateral movement as well here. As you can see, he kind of can slide out that far. His front shoulders allow him to kind of bring his paws up to 90 degrees. Now, one thing I will note with my copy here is that these are extremely tight, so there's a little bit of forgiveness when you start manipulating it, but I would just be careful when you're trying to get him into a pose. Just take your time. May benefit to heat him up a touch before, but not really necessary. For his forepaws down here, this lower joint, it's on a pinned hinge here that can go down that far and up that far. I will say that there have been some people that have received their Junkyard in these pins, whether they're front or back, are a little loose and they start popping out. So again, just be aware, look at what you're doing. For his along the length of his body, We have another ball peg here at the back part of his body that allows for some twists and turns here. All right, his back legs have a really substantial lateral spread, but it can go, his legs, he can go up pretty much that far, back all the way. His back leg here, again, really tight, but you can manipulate it to where it's pretty much straight with the leg, about maybe 45 degrees, I'll say. And like before, there's a generous pivot here, much more than the front paws, for his back paws here to move around. His junkyard, aesthetics, and articulation in a nutshell. So before we get to comparisons, we're going to start out with a section called Will He Vala? So what I have here is my PowerCon 2023 exclusive of the Valaverse Horde Swarm. So with both heads removed, we can instantly see that the ball peg on Mutt is much smaller than the ball peg on the Horde Swarm. So that would tell me that this will not sit on there properly unless you had some sticky tack. Though having him on there, the proportions of the head do look good on the Horde Swarm. So will he Vala? Answer is no. And for a little more fun with Valaverse, I have Mutt here with the Series 3.1 Valaverse Gemini. And we call this section, Who Does the Best Sneer in 2023? Do we have Mutt or do we have Gemini? I feel these two kind of really complement each other, just in regards to how they look, the color schemes. And to me, she's another dog lover, which is why she has her beloved Daisy here. And here we have Mutt Junkyard with the rest of the Joes and their animal teammates. It's cool that we're seeing like these type of characters come into the line. They were so influential in the original O-Ring line, and we're getting these in such a scale. We're in a level of articulation. We're having fully articulated animals in here. And of course, I couldn't forget our resident animal handler for Cobra, Crocmaster, with of course the beautiful Fiona and her two children. And Timber version 2 was brought in as well. So here are our animal companions for the G.I. Joe Classified line up to this point. So final impressions of the G.I. Joe Classified series, number 113, Mutt Junkyard Deluxe Set. I'm floored, guys. I mean, I know Classified series has been churning out figures and waves all through 2023. I mean, I think we got like 60 figures overall, including repaints. But this one is another banger, man. I am floored in the amount of detail and disposability between these two. They are the perfect buddy team, in my opinion. The paint and sculpt on Mutt is on point. I've had zero QC issues. All the articulation points that you want for Classified series. Junkyard, same articulation as what we've seen with Timber, and they're just a lot of fun. I mean, this is what you want for your Classified series. It touches the heartstrings of the old vintage figure in regards to aesthetics, but with a modern twist, and the fact that we can get third-party add-on kits to kind of merge the two together, like I have here with the Marauders, Gunrunners, Gun and Grub set. You know, really, there's nothing really to complain about right now. But yeah, if you can find Mutt Junkyard, I highly recommend. You won't be disappointed. I hope everyone has a happy 2024. Again, at the time of this recording, we are December 30th of 23. And I've still got a boatload of stuff to try to get through, and I'll do it as soon as I can. But everyone, thank you very much for watching, and we'll talk again soon. Bye.